And hello, and welcome back to Chaos Child. Has it been a while? Yes, I know, I'm sorry. But I got COVID. I got some, respiratory stuff that has made talking just a bitch over the course of the past couple months. Well, to say it simply, I can't talk for an extended period of time without feeling like I need to cough. And the more I talk, the worse that gets. It has gotten to a point where it's significantly, where I can, noticeably note that it's better, but that's still gonna happen. I'm gonna cut out as much as I can, and I might minimize how much I'm actually reading stuff. This should be better than Great Ace Attorney, which is what I tried to do, getting back into the swing of doing stuff. But with that in mind, I do want to get back into this. I want to get back into the swing of just doing a regular series now that I finish up the one thing that I was trying to, do sort of get to a stopping point, because I'll go back to that later because it has trials and clear stopping points. But yes, it's been a while. Let's start again. Man, this phone has been ringing for months now. Probably was an email or text. This was a phone call. Went to answer it. The screen saw the calls from Ito.
今頃なんだろう。新しい事件のネタでも見つけたのか。
Answered.
もしもし。どうした伊藤。
アットちゃん見たか？
Nope. His voice was tenacious.
アットチャンネル？
とにかく見てみろ。ニュージェネ関連のスレならどこでもいい。
なんだよ一体。
I walked over to my PC, confused and open hat channel. I decided to start by opening the news board. There are quite a few threads about the original current New Generation Madness incidents.
Huh?
You're gonna believe my eyes. Pages filled with... I think the last time we reached the point where we thought, things had stopped, maybe? Something along those lines. The names Minamisawa, Senri, and Hidoriko. Right, because she died. Hidoriko. What was the name for that? I don't remember who that was. And I can see the words burnt to death here and there, too.
警察が犯人を公表したのか？
違う。読んでみるとわかるが、どっかから情報が漏れたらしい。
情報が漏れた。
Oh, right, that was her new name? It's a source of something that I don't know anything about, but it has that /news in it. So I'm going to guess that it is a website that's not exclusively about news. Police are not commenting. Yeah, the police wouldn't normally comment on that. So it seems like there's a lot of legit information that's leaking out.
おい、なんだよこれ。
Given the people that we were dealing with are likely working as a group in some capacity, I could imagine someone having insight on the inside of the police.
見つけたか？
くそ、情報弱者どもが。ろくに確かめもしないで何適当なこと書き込んでんだ。
Kursu's and Kawahara's names mixed in. Oh, okay. Because of the associations, people are digging into people that are associated with them. Guys on Crazy Girl. Oh my goodness. The fact that that's a thing says a lot, yeah? Three of them were friends. And always together. So some person that knew them from way back when. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. This sounds fun. Basically, someone made an association, so they're deciding that they're part of the events. Irresponsible comments came after even worse. Noted that had said that she had once lived in Aoba dorm. That Kurisu visited her every day in her condo. This is crazy. Yeah, they're just sort of making stuff up. It's a very typical human thing to want answers, to feel like there needs to be an answer you can come to. People don't like accepting the idea that you don't know something. So you'll often see people fill in the blanks with often things that validate what they want to be true. Because that also, everything works out that way, right? Saying that Kurusu was the accomplice. Interesting. Why her phone number showing up in an interview? Oh, okay. She needs to change her phone number quickly.
ふざけるなよ。
Oh, yeah, and they have the freaking clinic phone number, too. Okay, that's fun.
試験がやっと終わったっていうのに、何なんだよこれ。
Fun? Something like that?
どうしたのタク？
Yeah, this isn't good.
切るぞ伊藤。クルスに電話してみる。
いや、俺も電話してみたがダメだった。副部長は電源を切ってる。
I could see why if her phone number was posted online by a bunch of people.
わかった。直接青葉寮行ってみる。
ああ、俺も行く。向こうで落ち合おう。
Is that a good idea? If this is spreading that quickly, I could imagine people being there already. Hung up as well.
尾上、悪いがちょっと留守番しててくれ。
やだよ。のんちゃんに何かあったんでしょ？私も連れてって。
Sarka followed after me as I ran out the door. Yeah, you can't really tell her what she can do. I didn't have a choice as we ran to the dorm. There's already several strange vans parked outside the dorm when we got there. We proceeded to slice their tires. Come on, do it, do it, do it. Outside with video cameras.
すごいね。もう来てんのか。いい加減にしろよ。
Just how news works. That's how news works in... Let's be more specific. That's how news works in a capitalist world where everything's about making as much money as possible. Let's say that. I could feel several sets of eyes upon me.
ねえ、ちょっといいかな。君らはもしかしてここの子？
Several men who appeared to be reporters started to surround us.
はい。何がですか？
だからここに住んでる子？
違います。すみません。どうして？
じゃあ友達かな。クルスノノって子知ってる？
知りません。
I decided to lie. I told them I knew Kurisu. I figured I wouldn't be able to take another step.
それじゃあさ、南沢千里っていう名前に心当たりはないかな。
They're gonna ask questions until they get a fucking thing that they want.
ネットで見なかった。例の猟奇殺人の犯人らしいんだけどね。
だからほんと知らないです。僕たち青葉院に薬をもらいに来ただけですから。
Then I grabbed Serica's hand and started to run. Shook off the hands that tried to grab at me and rang in the bell for Alba Dorm, or Alba Clinic, not Alba Dorm. I could hear several frustrated noises behind me. Maybe just because the police hadn't made their announcement yet, but even the media didn't seem to want to step on the clinic's property. Probably would be considered trespassing. I don't know what the Japanese laws on that might be. Definitely would be an overreach on some internet rumor. At least just purely logically.
僕だよ。尾上もいる。
I whispered and the door opened. I slid inside and the doors quickly closed again.
よ、おかえり。
standing in the front lobby chuckling.
こんばんは、佐久間先生。なんか大変ですね。
まあな、こんなのは初めてだからどうしていいのやら。
Dad scratched the back of his head.
クルスはどうしてる？
意外と言っちゃかわいそうだが、割と塞ぎ込んでる。あいつにしては珍しい。
Yeah, I'm sure this is just like stacking on the things that would make her upset and sad, especially being told not only that her friend was a killer, that she's now part of it. It probably doesn't do well to reinforce the idea or feelings that she wasn't for her. It probably does very poorly in that. Because if you're already feeling bad about it and you're not really 100% convinced that she really was like the killer, and it's been a while, but I remember me not thinking that was the case myself. If you're also given basically rumors that you're also a killer and you know you're not, then, you know, fun times. But it hurt to hear that strong-willed girl like her was down.
早く行ってやれ。タクルたちの顔を見れば少し。
はい。
Sarah and I ran up the stairs to the dorm. You could see her sitting at the dining table with her head drooping down. And past her, hiding in the kitchen, Yui and Yudo were looking on, worried. There was a cold cup of English breakfast on the table, and Yuki was pacing around, wondering if she should make a new one.
ただいま。
こんばんは。
They all looked relieved to see me.
タクルにセリカさん。よかった。来てくれて。
ああ。
I waved to Yui a little and tried to talk to Kurisu.
大丈夫か、クルス。
Kurisu slowly looked up as if she only now just realized we were here. Her tone made it obvious that she was trying to hide her shock.
心配して来てくれたの？ありがとう。
ああ、伊藤も来るってさ。
そう。そんなところに立ってないで座ったら。
あ、そうだな。
うん。
Sarah and I sat across from her. Yui quickly brought us some tea.
クルスさん、お茶新しくしましょうか。いいわ。ありがとう。
Kurisu smiled and politely refused. Yui looked a little sad. I mean, I think she just wants to be able to do something for her, so wouldn't be a horrible thing to let her do.
なあ、クルス。あんまり気にすんなよ。アットチャンネルなんて秋っぽいやつらばっかりだ。人の噂も75日とか言うけど、75日も持たない。多分1ヶ月もしないうちにみんな忘れると思う。
Well, that's more just, you know, the world in general. People are very focused on their own life. It's not even just an internet thing. The internet thing makes it so that you have like a million things bombarding you in terms of like updates to the world status. So it accelerates it for sure. But most people, in my opinion, are very focused on the life they're living. It's one of the reasons why you have problems with getting people politically active, even though they know it's in their best interest. It's because they're focused on their life. That's why when people, well, this is a little bit of a political rant. That's why when politicians want to try to influence elections rather than actually appealing to the voters, they'll tend to make it harder to vote. Because when you're focused on your life, especially if you're in a position where you're particularly busy just trying to live your life, then adding in more barriers makes it easier to just disassociate yourself from the need or the passion to do something in that place. It's and you could apply that same stuff to news and whatnot. If you wanted to manipulate a news cycle in some capacity, you could do much the same, make it more difficult. If you wanted to have a news cycle really prop stuff up, it would be constant exposure to it, rather than having it being like, oh, something happened, that sort of thing. It's very interesting how people tend to be very focused on their lives, and the information relevancy of things outside of just dealing with what they're doing will tend to, even if it's something that's like horrid and they have like a strong opinion on, will typically right out of there if you give it just a little bit of time.
だからその間だけちょっと我慢すれば。
私のことはいいの。何を言われても別に構わない。でも私の大切な人たちや大切な家に迷惑がかかるのが許せない。
Her voice is shaking with sorrow. You and Yuto ran from the kitchen and grabbed onto her from both sides.
ののねえ、平気だよ。私なら全然平気。僕も大丈夫だから。ゆい、ゆうと。でも学校でいじめられたりしたら。
Yeah, that could be a problem.
そんなの気にならないよ。っていうか、ユウをいじめるようなやつがいたら私がただじゃおかないから。
Hey, Yui, have you ever heard of a nail bat? I think you look surprisingly in character carrying one around. Might not go over so well at school, though.
ごめん。ごめんね。どうしてののねえが謝るの？何も悪いことしてないのに。そうだよ。謝ることないよ、のんちゃん。
Everybody rushed to defend her. But that only seemed to make it worse. I mean, I think she wants to be the protector. She feels responsible. She definitely is the sort of person who feels like it is her obligation, her role, and her purpose is to be the guardian of everyone's happiness in whatever form that takes, I think. Looking at her made me feel angry. Where had the information leaked from? Okay, well, information that we know, it went down to, So based on what he said before, the information associating Kurusu and Obadorm came from some person who happened to know them way back when and happened to remember them, right? It wasn't like that was part of the police leak. It was the pictures and the Minamisawi part and all that sort of fun stuff. So if we're thinking from a leak perspective, it looked like basic info and some pictures, right? Pictures down to the old childhood photo that I think Kurusu had, right? That's what she was the one who had that, which I think I could assume. I think you could assume came from the police. Can we assume that we gave that to them, or a copy of that to them? Because if not, then that sort of changes the possibility of who could have leaked it. Almost like maybe she did it herself. Or Mr. Dr. Dadman, maybe he did it. I don't know. I vaguely remember having a thought that he seemed sort of suspicious at a point. It's been a while though, so I might be misremembering that thought. And why would information come out that made her look like an accomplice just because she was an old friend of a serial killer? Yeah, that's weird. That does feel contrived, even for the internet. People go on about cancel culture, but whenever people say cancel culture, it sounds like just an excuse. So basically, what we have is the court of public opinion. People get news, people get mad. Does that mad and anger and whatnot spread to a point of actual consequences for the person via just social pressure? To be determined. Court of public opinion. People typically try to call that cancel culture. It's an imperfect system, obviously, because it's basically mob mentality, but it is something that's necessary in the world, in that legally legal systems don't typically hold people accountable in a way that social systems can. But with that said, even for that system coming to the conclusion that she's an accomplice and to associate her into the story feels very weird because no one else has had any of this deep dive into their childhood history and to associate people on the basis of they were friends. Not one single person has anything remotely like this, even in this story with all the other killers and whatnot, right? That's the thing. That's the thing that seems weird to me. So it feels like it feels like someone introduced that information is probably someone who's part of this group that is doing the serial killings and wants to use it. Oh, what would they achieve by doing that, though? That's the thing. That is the weird thing about it. I'm trying to remember all my theories. It's been too long. What would they achieve via that? I don't know. But it does feel like at least that element of it, the part that got added on afterwards, it definitely feels like someone introduced that and introduced it in specifically a way where people would contextualize it as an accomplice. Because, yeah. Didn't make sense. It was crazy. Or, wait, is the reason people are assuming accomplices because, like, the leaked pictures included a picture of them together? Like, when they were young? Like, oh, the police have this, so it must mean that these other people are involved too, or something like that? It's actually sort of unclear what logic is being found, because people don't believe things for no reason. No matter how irrational you may think they're being, there is some semblance of logic to what they think, even people that are jumping to conclusions. Huh? And then I realized something was wrong. I've been shocked by what had happened. I hadn't had time to think about it, but... Oh yeah, shit doesn't add up. As a natural reaction, that channel's always looking for a new target to make a fuss over. I mean, Namasawa Senri fit the bill perfectly, but there's no reason to expand it. But had there really been enough time for them to start focusing on Kurisu and Aoba Dorm? Even for at channel, that was weird. As soon as I had the thought, I froze. Someone set this up. Were they after Kurisu or maybe Aoba Dorm? The leak location does seem potentially relevant. I need more information on what if we provided a copy of that photo to the police. Who would do that? And for what? What could they gain by going after Kurisu or Aoba Dorm? I took the phone out of my pocket and dialed a number. Everyone looked at me, surprised. I motioned for them to be quiet and stood up. I need to move somewhere I wouldn't be overheard, so as not to worry Kurisu more. I returned to my own room and focused on the sound of the ring phone. Finally an answer. Shincho was in just as much of a hurry as I was. I cut him off and yelled.
どうしておかしな情報が漏れてるんです？
ネットの件か。今、サイバー対策課が調べてる。もう少し待ってくれ。
警察から漏洩したんじゃないんですか？
それも含めて、今調査中だ。
Shincho sounded a little upset. Probably didn't want to think that any of his colleagues had leaked important information. Probably more importantly, it's more that he's in the middle of trying to figure shit out, and he's being questioned on what he doesn't know yet.
それより、君は今どこにいる？
青葉寮ですけど。
ちょうどよかった。いいか、よく聞け。これは君たちの命に関わる重大な話だ。
え？
Our lives are in danger?
俺も君たちも大変な勘違いをしていたんだ。皮肉な話だが、 ネットに情報が漏れたおかげで判明した。
In that there's someone setting all this up? Did you figure it out from that? Someone set up Minamisawa's Senri, in a sense. Did we figure that part out?
君や有村さんを襲ったパイロキネシスト、あれは南沢千里じゃなかった。
My eyes went wide as I stood there in shock. Really?
南沢千里じゃなかった。
So you're saying the person who showed up to the dorm in the clinic before wasn't her either?
あ、
じゃあ誰なんです？
灰田理子だ。
はあ？それって偽名じゃ。
そう。俺たちは灰田理子というのが偽名で、偽の身元だとばかり思っていた。でも、ネット上に彼女を実際に知っているという情報がいくつも書き込まれているのを見つけたんだ。最初はただのデマだと思ったんだが、一応その書き込みをもとに、彼女の故郷と言われる場所を地元警察に洗ってもらった。
Okay, did you actually check out someone to identify her? Because you could easily say, oh, shit, someone stole her identity and was using it as a false alias, right? That's actually, that alone isn't enough to rule out the idea of a false alias.
その結果、灰田理子の実在が確認された。
Yeah, but that's still not enough.
そんな。
マンションで見つかった焼死体の歯の治療痕も地元の歯科医の記録と完全に一致した。間違いない。
Okay, and there it is. Okay, good.
俺たちが南沢千里だと決めつけていたパイロキネシストは灰田。
ちょっと待ってください。
I moved the phone away from my ear so I could think for a second.
見つけた。
Yeah. That whole concept of her specifically targeting you is very much something that never completely made sense. I think that's the main takeaway, that the I found you wasn't directed at him specifically, right? It was probably more directed at the idea of I found you psychics, and the fact that she was, if I remember correctly, the idea was that we saw arson showing up after the case in it, so it was probably someone who was super angry at them, was basically going after the people who were doing the murders, and she thought she found, oh, they're psychics, I found the killers. Probably something like that, right? Then did the real Minamisawa actually die in the Shibuya Earthquake, like yours said?
それならどうして僕は狙われたんだ。
I never know a woman named Haida Riko. I never met her online. I never met her or even heard the name before. I don't know why I said online. Here's the thing. The fact that he thinks that it has to be due to her knowing him, and specifically after specifically targeting him specifically, rather than a more general looking for people like him, that's sort of a bad assumption that he made. A little egotistical, and a little bit I think he did, and he's stuck to, because of the guilt he felt about the original situation, and that he felt like something was coming to punish him, that he probably felt like he deserved, right? So it became about him rather than about the case in general. Can't think of any reason why she'd come after me. What was she doing with Minamisawa Senri's ID card then? That's a good question. That's a fantastic question. That feels like something that got planted there after we started suspecting they were the same person. That feels more likely. I couldn't think straight. I kept coming up with new questions. It does feel like we're being led on a bit of a goose chase, right?
もしもし、宮代君、聞いてる
Like
か？
we led them to the conclusion they wanted to create with this, right? And the question being, are we already past the point of no return for whatever they're trying to do via this?
はい。
Put the phone back to my ear when I heard the panic in his voice.
さっき灰田理子の検視結果がようやく出た。死亡推定時刻は10月23日の未明から。
10月23日？
そうだ。その時間帯に彼女はすでに死んでいた。
でも 23日の夜、僕はカフェで襲われたんですよ。
Yeah, that was an hallucination. And someone fucking with your head, too. The real boot. Someone real booting the, like, thoughts into your head, right? Something along those lines.
これは久野里さんの説だが、君を襲ったのは灰田理子本人じゃない。多分、別の能力者が灰田理子の妄想を君に見せただけだ。それしか説明がつかない。
Yay, we're acknowledging that. There are a lot of things that Mr. MC here has presumed over the course that I think have been very, I want to say, I wouldn't say egotistical, but sort of very focused around him, making it about him rather than about the overall thing that's happening. Technically, I suppose that is sort of the case.
別の能力者
I felt a cold, sticky sweat on my forehead. Another psychic. So I think if we're going to say... Yeah, another psychic. Probably the same psychic that caused the other murders. I wonder. So... Actually, that's a fair question. What time did they say? Early morning and afternoon on October 23rd. So basically... before the delusion? Meaning that the delusion was never going to kill me. I've been sort of under the presumption that it was an aim to try to do it in a similar capacity as we saw in the prologue, where we saw the person basically get set up and kill himself out of a delusion, leading him to take actions he wouldn't normally take, right? I presumed it was something along those lines. But if they already killed her, then they wouldn't need someone else to kill. Unless they figured... So I guess there's two possibilities here. Either they figured, oh, we'll just kill both of them. It doesn't matter if we have 2 deaths on this day. That sort of thing. And that's irrelevant. Having 2 deaths isn't actually a downside to them. Or the other option is that they were trying to achieve something else. Because it's... If they were just trying to fuck with him, then that feels like that wouldn't really work out logically, right? Because why would you show your hand in terms of the power you have and let them come to this conclusion just to fuck with them? You have to be trying to achieve something with that. The only thing I can think of is the same thing that we see in other avenues that seem to be trying to maybe create the delusion to set up this chain of events that would lead to us misidentifying Minamisawa as the killer, right? And involve everyone via this. In the end, I discard the possibility. That's why I thought it was all over.
灰田理子の頭部はかなり損壊していて、すぐにわからなかったんだが、脳に肥大化、おそらく彼女は思考を操られ、自分で自分を串刺しにした挙句、さらに自身の体を燃やしたんだ。
じゃあ真犯人は10月23日に能力者である灰田理子を惨殺したということになる。
Right. In terms of priority of getting rid of people, she does seem like she could be the next one to try to get rid of, since based on what we've seen, indicate that she's probably the person that's going after them, right? She's actively trying to defy them, and is aware enough of the situation to probably state, like, yeah, there's a fucking group of psychics killing people, let me fucking kill them.
そうだ。スケジュール通りにな。
ってことは
I was too scared to say what came next. Junta said it for me.
ニュージェネの狂気の再来は23日で途切れてなんかいなかったんだ。事件はまだ続いている。
Dun dun dun. And today was October 28th. Is that the next date? The murders weren't over.
気をつけろ、宮代君。多分誰かが狙われてる。
Felt like every hair in my body was standing up on end. Okay, I need to tell everyone all this information immediately. I mentioned a hand reaching out from somewhere and putting a cold blade to my neck.
新庄さん、僕たちどうしたら
Do not trust anything that seems weird. If absolutely everything has to do with mind control, delusions, leading you to being able to have just leading you into a dangerous situation like with what's her face. Just bunker down, ignore any delusions that might come up, and ignore.
とにかく一人になるな。君のところに今後輩を。俺は有村さんの家へ行って彼女を保護する。
はい、お願いします。
I hung up, jammed the phone in my pocket, and ran out of the room. My legs were trembling and I almost tripped several times. When I got to the dining room, Cruz and Sarah were folding everyone's laundry.
何かしていないとつい悪いことばかり考えてしまって。
Oh, you're gonna be super interested in this. Super interested in this. Forced herself to smile as she looked at me. She must have seen the look on my face because her smile faded instantly.
どうかしたの？タク？
ユイたちはどうした？
I can see Yui, Yudo, or Yuki.
ウキちゃんと一緒に佐久間先生のお手伝い。今日はもう。
そっか。
Dad had probably figured with all the media outside, he wouldn't get any work done today. So I must have decided to close up early. Looked at the curtain and saw that the street was filled with vans. None of them showed any sign of leaving. Whether this was fair or not, even though I hated them a moment ago, I now felt glad they were there. This many people, no matter who they were, the killer would be able to get at us easily. Well, unless they turn it into, they manipulate them into killing you. Whew. That would be another interesting way to go about it. I went to close the curtain and saw that there was some kind of commotion going on outside.
Huh?
The window glass was too thick for me to hear, but something must have happened while I was on the phone. Hey, where's the Ito? Where's the Ito?
尾上、クルスのこと頼む。何があっても絶対にそばを離れないでやってくれ。
ねえタクル、何かあったのなら教えて。
後でちゃんと話すから。とにかく任せたぞ、尾上。
オッケー。
Yeah, just figure out what's happening. 2 were inside because they're probably safe, but it was best to be sure down the stairs to the clinic. I see Yuki and Yudo cleaning up the equipment in the exam room.
父さんとユイは？
父さん、外でマスコミの人と喧嘩してる。
Don't.
喧嘩？
はい。医院の窓から中を隠し撮りしようとした人がいたんです。それで佐久間先生が怒って外へ。
I listened carefully, and sure enough, I could hear Dad arguing with what sounded like a reporter.
ユイも父さんと一緒なのか？
え、お姉ちゃん？
Yudo and Yuki look confused.
お姉ちゃんならさっきタクル兄ちゃんのところへ行ったでしょ？
何？
You went to find me?
いや、来てないぞ。
でも確かに寮へ上がっていきました。
Oh, she's completely not aware. Okay, that's fun.
そんなバカな。
Don't do it, game. Don't do it. Don't do it. This would be... I ran back up the stairs to the dorm.
ユイ！どこだ、ユイ！
But I couldn't find her no matter where I looked. Do we have a roof? She was in her room, the bath, the toilet. I looked everywhere. Is there an open window anywhere? After I looked everywhere I could find, I decided to check the dorm's emergency exit. I shivered as I saw the inside latch was undone.
いつもきちんと鍵がかかってるはずなのに。
She got outside. Why? I could feel my heart pounding. Terror as I ran back to the clinic.
やっぱり。
そんなはずないよ。さっき伊藤さんが来て。
伊藤？
Oh.
はい。それでゆいさんは伊藤さんと上へ行ったんです。
What? Both of you saw that.
伊藤と一緒なんだな。ユイ一人じゃなくて。
Both of you saw that too. Wait. You're not really gonna suggest that he's the leak?
はい。
そうか。
Breathed a small sigh of relief. No, that's not actually... If it was just Yui, she might have been in danger, but if she wasn't alone, it wouldn't be easy for someone to attack her.
とにかく、伊藤に電話してみる。
As I took out my phone, Sarika and Kurusu came into the room. They were worried. They looked even more worried when I told them that Ito and Yui had vanished.
ユイと伊藤くんがどこ行っちゃったんだろ
もしもし、伊藤か？
ああ、宮代。
お前どこにいるんだ？
どこってコンビニから帰るところだよ。買い出ししてきたんだ。
And you took the emergency exit because the front door is being swarmed by people? Is that the logic? His voice is the same as ever.
ユイは一緒なのか？
そばにいるけど。
そうか。
Felt relieved, but screamed into the phone anyway.
お前な、コンビニに行くなら誰かに断ってからにしろよ。ユイまで連れ出してみんな心配してんだぞ。
確かにそうだったな。悪い。
とにかく急いで戻ってきてくれ。ユイが危険かもしれないんだ。
それなら大丈夫だろう。ユイちゃんに何かあったら俺が手術して治してやるからさ。
Huh?
Huh?
What a weird thing to say so bluntly. My mouth hung open for a second. An operation? The hell was he talking about? Oh god, are they mind controlling him maybe? Deluding him? Then I realized that I could hear muffled moans next to him.
おい、伊藤、今のユイの声じゃないのか？何やってんだ？
さ、俺いつか佐久間先生みたいな医者になろうと思ってたんだよな。知ってたか？
No, but not totally relevant. Now, he's talking very maliciously if he's being deluded by them. I also had a theory previously that they specifically targeted psychics because they were easier to real boot into or something because they were already, resonant with that. So, one, I don't think he's a psychic. Two, did we have tests done previously? I'm trying to remember, did we have tests done previously to actually confirm he wasn't a psychic? I feel like we might have. I'm trying to remember if, the things we did to test people were psychics were something that someone could lie about.
だから、何してんだよ、お前！
やっぱコンビニで買ったナイフじゃ切れ味が悪いな。確かに痛いだろう、これじゃ。
おい、糸、何冗談言ってんだ。ユイを電話に。
宮代、お前さ、急いで持ってきてくれないか？ちゃんと切れるメスと麻酔薬。
Say yes so he doesn't start.
あと、骨を切るノコギリみたいなのなかったっけ？これじゃ、ユイちゃんがかわいそうだ。
He hung up. Where are you?
ユイ、どうしたんだ、ユイ！
Run? I pushed the call button again and with shaky fingers. But he must have turned off his phone because he didn't pick up.
なんだよ。どうして伊藤が。
タクル、ユイがどうかしたの？
I don't remember him doing anything at any point in time that would actually lead me to believe that he is suspicious in terms of that he was trying to do something different. As in, I don't remember anything that feels like it would be foreshadowing this. And his weird behavior in particular makes it seem like delusions are more likely. So it seems better for me to throw out the concept that they might be targeting psychics because it's a ton easier for them to resonate with that ability. It might be good to throw out that concept in terms of something that makes sense with the current info. Which just means they're targeting psychics for a different reason.
悲鳴みたいなの聞こえたけど。
Suddenly felt like I was about to throw up. Shoved my face into the sink, tossed up everything I had in my stomach. It's like I was vomiting up hate, fear, despair. No matter how much I tried, it wouldn't stop. Okay. Okay. Alternative explanation. Could they be making so if we go on the concept that they've been targeting psychics specifically because psychics are easier to do this ability for, is it possible that what Takeru is experiencing now is a delusion? We saw previously that in delusion with Minamisawa Senri that it's possible for people for you to just block out all the actual things that are going on with humans, right? Going on, like everyone disappeared in his delusion there, even though they were all still around, right? and his experience and the senses that he was experiencing were all based on the delusion. I'm sure touch would be sort of fucky, but is this a way to pull him out of the place, maybe? It's just such a weird thing for Ito to do. This is the difference between it is based on if they are targeting psychics specifically. I don't think we've seen anything where they'd... Oh, that's the thing. Why would they... So, one of the reasons previously why they might have not had someone else go and kill the person for them, which we haven't seen any sign of. So the very first one, people showed up, sure, but he did kill himself via his delusions doing that. The other one was something where she put like a speaker in her body, and she did that herself, presumably. We didn't see any sign of someone else doing that. The next one after that was the merry-go-round one, right? That also seemed self-inflicted, though admittedly, Arimura was there. So unsure if they could have used her to do something, but I'm not sure that was too important. But at the same time, based on the delusion that Takaru was experiencing before, it's not like you forget the delusion afterwards. So the fact that she didn't have any memory of it, presumably, assuming she's not lying, does imply that it probably wasn't her. Which is part of the reason I'm thinking that they wouldn't use another person on the basis of that person would remember stuff, and it would leave more clues, basically, right? The next one after that was the very disgusting one with all the stickers, right? The very disgusting one with that, and we didn't see anything to imply that it wasn't him that technically did it to himself, right? After that, we just speculated that she did it to herself too, with the burning and whatnot. Why would you introduce in this capacity the option or the possibility to try to kill someone via using another person? Is it because the group that you're dealing with now knows what you're doing and it's not really a downside to introduce that clue to the situation? But the only reason we know about it currently is because they used it on Takaru, and he was the one who had the delusion, and the only reason we are even speculating as a group in the world that it's capable for them to have that it's capable for there to be another psychic that's creating these delusions that's leading people to kill themselves, basically. The only reason we're speculating on that is because he was introduced to this delusion being a thing. So it feels like if the reason basically maybe they have a reason that they can do it this way instead, but at the same time maybe it would be easier to just make Takaru think that this is happening. Which, if I'm saying that this is just a delusion being given to Takaru, at that point I have no clue when it started. Could have it been at the phone call? Before the phone call? Call Shinjo.
このままじゃユイが殺される。
I let her get in touch, and I ran out of the emergency exit to the dorm. Some nearby reporters ran over.
どうしたの君？
何かあったのかい？
さっきここから誰か出て行きます。え？僕くらいの男と、あともう少し若い。
あの二人かな。インタビューしようとしたら。
どっちへ行きました？
確かあっちだと思うけど。
I ran in the direction he pointed without stopping and looking behind me.
君！
Hear them asking what happened, I didn't have time to tell them. Or care to tell them. I ran screaming the names of my little sister and my best friend. It hurt to breathe, but I couldn't stop running. My only thought was, as I ran, was of Yui's safety and Ito's strange behavior. His tone had been the same as ever. It was the exact same tone he used when he was laughing about the latest weird school gossip. So why would he do that to Yui? It had to be some kind of mistake. Have we seen... So what we know about the delusions that they create is that it creates a false perception that they go on to act on, that the world's normal. I have, admittedly, a difficult time trying to think of a way that his comments make sense in the frame of mind of he's being deluded to perceive something else. I want to be a doctor. Okay, cool. That feels realistic, something he might say. The idea that he's going to operate on Yui and said it so nonchalantly, too. It's not like he was being given some delusion that she was desperately hurt and he needed to do something because he was right here and he had to do something and because it would be too late if she tried to get to the clinic or something, right? It wasn't something like that. It wasn't something that seemed to match up with the delusions that we have been introduced to at this point. At least the little we've seen of them. Very specifically, that very first prologue one is the big one. Ito wouldn't...
いや、待て待て。もし他に犯人がいるなら23日だってけど実際は何も起こらなかったってことはこの可能性は消えたってことじゃないのかな。もうやめようぜ。なんつうかさ、副部長が辛いと思うんだ。俺。
This doesn't feel like it adds up to me. This does not feel like it adds up to me. His comments don't feel like someone who's been trying to manipulate the situation behind the scenes. Unless his comments on the phone were specifically meant to be provocative, to lure Takeru away into where they are.
僕が別の能力者の可能性を完全に伊藤はクリスのことを引き合いに出して僕に考える間も与えずに重大なメモを剥がして捨てた。それじゃあれはわざと。
Here's the thing, I could imagine being deliberate. I just don't see the current situation as it currently stands actually leading into that, just because of how strange his behavior is. It doesn't feel like... The only way that it seems rational that it was deliberate as well would be that if he's specifically trying to lead Takeru into a trap at the moment, right? That what he said was provocative and specifically meant to make him panic and run out really quickly.
Yeah! Ito!
That was dry and stung, was gasping for breath and dire need of water, dripping off of me, so out of breath I couldn't think. Looked around and saw that it was in residential area Shibuya and the reconstruction teams hadn't gotten around to yet. Still a lot of abandoned houses. Interesting. Was not aware of that. If it was a trap, why didn't he lead him to a specific place? The convenience store, maybe. Did Takeru not go check the convenience store? I'm just thinking, the only way that it makes sense that stuff before was deliberate, and it sort of goes with the whole, like, I'm gonna operate on her thing that sounds completely crazy and random, and otherwise, if he was doing things deliberately to try to achieve something, Those words don't make sense unless it was specifically trying to provoke him to coming out to a specific place, which he did not give a specific place unless it's a convenience store, which, unless Takaru is an idiot and just passed a convenience store, he didn't give a location outside of that. So the whole trap thing, I don't know. Even during the day, there's little foot traffic, and there was always rumors that at night, you could see the ventricles of the people who died in the quake wandering beneath the street lights. It wasn't that far from a dorm, which meant that during my search, I must have circled back without knowing it. I was just about to turn around and head for Miyashita Park, or Hekiho Academy. I heard a faint sound. Tiny nose like tearing cloth. I thought I might have imagined it, but I forced my aching legs to look into the alleyway where I heard it. If he finds them just randomly running around. The lights didn't reach the alley, so I could see nothing but darkness. I could hear the sound of water going drip, drip, drip. Some house's pipe must have broken. I took another step towards the darkness as if it was being drawn in by the sound. Suddenly there was a sharp metallic clings at my feet. I quickly jumped back, surprised. My eyes adjusted to the darkness. I saw that they were paring knives. And all of them were stained dark with something. The blades are bent or broken in places. Oh no. The implication. Yep. Let something crawl up my back from Ito's words.
Oi. Yui? Iru no ka? Yui?
If it's supposed to be a trap, again, things aren't adding up with the idea of it being deliberate. I can imagine the illusion side, and that Takaru's overthinking his previous words, because they weren't that unreasonable as a concept at the time. Took another step forward. There's what felt like a puddle of water at my feet, and I heard a splash. Oh no. But there's no answer. Took another step forward. Now, the splash got louder, and I realized that liquid was sticking to my shoes. I looked down and saw that my shoes stained some dark red color as knives. Wind must have changed course, because the moment I had thought I smelled something awful. I inhaled a full breath of stench that I could, before I could cover my nose and mouth. And I looked towards the source of the smell. My eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could see it. Oh, don't. Don't either of them. Oh God. No. I know exactly what it's describing. I don't want to think about this. Okay. No. What? Really? He was holding the murder weapon in his hands. It was dripping with blood. Oh my goodness. No. Ito hopped over what used to be Yui and spoke to me in the same pleasant tone he always used.
どうしてだってお前さ、なんであの時助けなかったんだ？
あの時？
なんで見捨てたんだ？
捨てたって？
誰って？千には。
Wait, are you saying you're... Huh? Okay, this is interesting. This feels like an unnatural escalation at the moment, I'm gonna note. Which is making me question everything. Why is Ito talking about Senri?
どうだ！自分の大切なものを失う気分は！自分の無力さを思い知りながら後悔に苛まれる気分は！
I felt nothing but confusion. What I was looking at didn't seem real. Yeah, it still doesn't. I just stood there and stared at Ida's face, dumbstruck.
俺にとってかけがえのない存在だった。それをお前は見殺しにしたんだ。
What?
でも
What was their relation? I believe none of this. I believe none of this at the moment. I believe this is a delusion. This doesn't feel real in the slightest. Got closer to me.
次は宮代の番だ。よく切れるメスと麻酔薬は持ってきたか。それがなきゃひどく痛くて苦しむぞ。ゆいちゃんみたいにな。
Okay, went along than I thought. Ida smiled a murder smile. Oh, so that's how it's going to be. For some reason, I lost capacity to think clearly. That was the only thought that was left. I'm not even going to look like a person when he's done with me. Just like Yui. I felt the feeling overwhelm me. All I could do was stare into Ida's bloodshot eyes and wait for the moment of my death. And then I heard what sounded like a scream behind me. It was enough to drag me back to my senses. I looked back and saw Kurusu standing under the streetlight, her shoulders heaving up and down. Her eyes were wide at the knife in Ida's hand. I'm trying to look for something that gives me an idea if this is actually real in any capacity. I don't know. I don't trust it. He'll kill you too. Get away from here, Kurusu. I want to tell her to get away, but only meaningless noises came out of my mouth. It was like my vocal cords had been paralyzed. Kurusu did the exact opposite of what I'd hoped she would. She ran into the alley, blocking my way out. Here's the thing, is if this is real, this feels... The fact that I think it might not be real could probably speak to the fact that it feels... unsatisfying as an answer to anything at the moment. Let's say that. And at the same time, she noticed the box of bloody parts in the stinking pool of blood. She gasped. You can guess. His eyes haven't always been red, right?
Yui wa dousita no? Nee, Yui wa?
I was finally able to speak, but I couldn't answer a question. It was pathetic, but tears started welling up in my eyes. I couldn't stop them. Ito answered for me, flipping the knife from one hand to the other, to another as he spoke.
Ah, ほら、気をつけなよ、副部長。その箱を一つでも踏み潰したら、ゆいちゃん。
Kurusu jumped back and started to shake as she stared at the boxes. I still don't entirely believe it. It's certainly building towards being reality. In the more they introduce other characters and things calm down, and it's still the case. Especially with him snapping back to his senses and it's still being the case. No. Oh, finger. Yeah, that. Fantastic. I don't care what you have to say. Don't show that.
全部宮代が悪いんだよ。南沢千里を苦しめたから。
Oh.
その復讐さ。
We have heard nothing about you knowing each other.
千里の復讐？
そうだよ。千里はもっと痛かったろ。苦しかったろ。しかも実験が辛くて死にたいと思っても死ねなかった。ゆいちゃんなんてまだ幸せだよ。こうしてすぐ死ぬことができたんだからね。
It doesn't look it. I'd also add the fact that it sort of sounds like, it sort of feels like the time between the phone call and me showing up, you would not have time to cut in as many pieces as we saw over there with, you know, a convenience store knife. When I heard those words, Something snapped inside me. The fog in my head cleared instantly, my blood started to boil. It was a rage I couldn't control. Next thing I knew, I left the eater with bare hands. Pointing the knife straight at me as if he'd been waiting for this. I could tell that it was pointing straight at my neck, my carotid artery. If I had been more calm, I would have known better than jump on him without any defenses, but now I couldn't hold back my anger. He must have thought that he had me, because a cruel thin smile formed at Yu's lips. I knew I was going to die. I hoped that Kurusu at least might be able to get away. The last thought that went through my head was... If heaven was real, that was probably where Yui is going. But I knew without a doubt that I would be going to hell. So I'd probably never see her again. Also seems mad that the moment my death never came. Instead, I heard Kurusu scream. It was a violent sound unlike anything I'd heard from her before. I looked in surprise and saw that she grabbed Ito from the side, and the two of them were rolling on the ground. The two of them were rolling around in Yui's blood. She didn't seem to hear me at all. She screamed like a wounded animal and tried to grab both of Ito's arms from behind. Her whole body was covered with Yui's blood, and each time she moved, her long hair flew up and sent red splashes everywhere. Ito tried to shake her off and punched her in the stomach. She moaned in pain when the impact hit her, where she'd been stabbed before, but she hung on desperately and refused to let go. I leapt on top of Ito without even thinking. I grabbed the hand with the knife and smashed it in the ground with all my might. There was a dull snap as his fingers shattered and the knife fell to the ground. I kicked it far away. I put my full weight on Ito's back and pinned him to the ground. Stronger than I had thought, he almost knocked me off, but I refused to let go. She didn't seem to answer. Okay, still breathing. Still trying to breathe. Big tears fell from her eyes, and she finally got her breath. She started to sob. Still doesn't feel real. I gotta be honest. It's every second that it every second it continues to go on, it feels like it legitimizes it, but shit doesn't add up.
副部長、恨むんなら宮代を恨むんだな。あの時、こいつが千里を見捨てていなければ、俺だってこんな事件を起こすこともなかった。すべての事件の元凶は宮代だったんだ。お前が追いかけてたはずのニュージェネの凶器の再来事件は、実はみんなお前を追い詰めるために俺が起こしてたんだ。
Bullshit. 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 No. That makes no fucking sense. If you wanted to just get your revenge on him, you would have just killed him in the first place. If that was the entire point. Oh my goodness.
そんなことも調べられないで何が情報強者だよ。すげえ滑稽だぜ宮代。
That couldn't be true. No, this doesn't. Could it be feasibly possible, in the basis of real booting, for someone to introduce the concept of a self-centered delusion of a story focusing around them and make it about them? Make other people's personality and memories maybe, and observations and stuff just change slightly to turn into that? Is that feasible? Part of the problem with this game is that the idea that anything could be a delusion and stuff like that sort of fucks with your ability to trust the info you're given in any capacity. If people died because he found the truth faster, Yui wouldn't have died.
嘘。
Cruz's voice was so soft I couldn't hear what she's saying.
Huh? クルス。
嘘よ。伊藤君の言ってることは、みんなデタラメじゃない。
はあ
Cruz jerked her face upward without bothering to hide her tears. She stood up in rage and screamed in the sky.
あなたは誰？伊藤君にこんなことをさせて。どこかで私たちを嘲笑っているのは、一体誰なの？
Yeah, that was a possibility I thought about, the idea that someone was controlling him from a distance. He never claimed that he was Ito, to be fair.
クルス。
We haven't seen any sign of someone controlling someone so directly before. Deluding them and tricking their perceptions into doing something completely irrational, sure. But he's standing there like, almost like he's speaking for someone, if we're saying this isn't Ito.
見てるのは分かってるのよ。私の大切な妹をこんな姿にしたあなたは一体誰？
Something red dripped down off Kurtz's skirt. Was it Yui's blood, or had Kurtz's own injury opened up again?
どういうことだ、クルス？
伊藤君は千里のことなんて知らない。誰かにそう思い込まされてるだけ。
はあ何言ってんだよ。俺は大好きだった千里のために復讐を。だからそんなの嘘。私は千里と一緒にずっと過ごしてきたのよ。千里はあなたに会ったことなんてない。
Yeah, that's a big...
なのに復讐なんてありえない。
That's a big part of the shit that made no sense to me.
バカなこと言うなよ。俺は千里を愛してたんだ。だから千里のために。
Ooh, interesting. Are we going to use the idea? Is he gonna like introduce like, oh, I knew her since that time that she supposedly died. I knew her, the current Senri who was going around being an arsonist. And we're gonna be like, no, we just learned from the police that's not Senri. And he's gonna be like, what? And he was like, introduce. That's the thing. Delusions are interesting. If we're going to presume that this isn't an entirely different power than the thing that we saw at the very beginning of the game that deluded the person into cutting the cheese, and his arm, and etc, etc, etc. If we're going to assume that it isn't a completely different one, then that power seemed to fuck with perception rather of what people, like, the senses that came in and what people thought was going on around them. It didn't seem to introduce different memories. If you were able to have a power that just introduced entirely different memories, and I presume that would be feasible in this world, given real booting means basically anything can be real, right? If you were able to introduce entirely different memories into someone, that is OP, and you could achieve anything you wanted to, basically. Maybe that's the end game. Expand the network of psychics, the power to reboot beyond yourself, so you can just introduce memories into the entire world and set yourself up as the king or something like that. I don't know. It could be something like that.
それも全部デタラメよ。千里はあなたなんて絶対に知らない。だからあなたが千里を愛しているはずがない。
Ito flailed about. Foamy bubbles were pouring out of his mouth. His bloodshot eyes had rolled up into his head, and they were so swollen that they looked like they might burst out of their sockets. And... Suddenly blood started to pour out of his eyes. It wasn't Yui's, it was very clearly his own. When I recoiled, he crawled out from under me and then curled up on the ground. He grabbed his head with his hands and started to spasm and flail about.
伊藤
伊藤君。
Ito tore his head, finally started to bang it against the ground.
やめろおい。
ダメよ伊藤君。
Kurusu and I grabbed him to try to stop him. His forehead had split open, blood was coming out mixed with the blood that came out of his eyes. It was impossible to tell what it even looked like now. But he shook us off and started to jerk and flail some more.
離せんリアシロ。俺は千里を見捨てたお前が許せない。だって俺は千里のことを。千里って誰だ？南沢千里？そうだ、犯人だ。宮代を狙った殺人犯。気をつけろ宮代。あの女はまた襲ってくるぞ。千里はお前を恨んでるんだ。だってお前はあの子を見捨てたんだからな。だから俺がこうして復讐してやったんだ。だからゆいちゃんが死んだのもお前のせい。いや俺がゆいちゃんをこんなにしたのかよ。俺がいと。
Okay, yeah. This confirms the thought from before, basically, in some limited capacity. It was as if Kurusu had, it was as if what Kurusu had said was right, and someone was controlling his brain.
待てよ、俺がゆいちゃんにこんなこと。俺ゆいちゃんのこといつもいい子だなって思ってて、宮代とも仲が良くてちょっと羨ましいなって。でもそうか、俺が殺したんだ。だって千里のためだもんな。で千里って誰だっけ？
It's hard to tell if it's still going on. Suddenly, Ito's laughter cut off and froze like a toy whose batteries had run out. Then, all the strength drained from his body, and he collapsed. Oh, for fuck's sake. Kurusu and I together couldn't support the full weight of an unconscious human, so we all fell to the ground. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Why introduce... If they could just control someone's mind... Maybe I got it backwards. Maybe it's easier to kill people without... It's easier to influence people without the real booting resonance. Because maybe they don't control it as well, basically. Maybe. And the reason that it's the delusion stuff for like the people that have been killed, it's a delusion sort of situation, is because they can't do the full mind control element. Things don't add up. At the very least, we've discovered where the breaking point is in that. Neither of us can move for a while. Ito is bleeding out, obviously. We just lay there holding Ito between us. Don't show it. No, don't. I'm just staring at the bloody boxes that held our sister. You're a bastard game, honestly. You're a bastard game. Fuck you. Fuck you so hard. Oh my goodness.
Yui.
Start to cry like a little girl, and there's nothing I could say to her, because I felt like I was gonna cry too. It was all I could do to stop myself. No, cry if you want to. There's no reason not to. Oh. Oh, that would be. Close my eyes tight. I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to hear anything else.
ダメだよ、タクル兄。のの姉って本当はまだ子供なんだから、タクル兄が支えてあげなくっちゃ。ね。
Was it her ghosts, maybe? I could see Yui smiling gently when I closed my eyes. Fuck, man. I could do more, but I feel as though that needs to be a place I end it. Needs to. And I mean physically needs to be a place I end that. If we wanted to stop them from claiming Ito was the killer, we could always just have told them that when the media showed up that Ito got hurt fighting the person that did it and they ran off or something. Wanted to lie about it. Oh. The real question is the nature of the power. Calm before the storm, etc., etc. Could the person have been nearby? Did they need to be nearby in order to do that sort of thing? Or could they just plant something in someone's mind and let the seed fester? The nature of the power is really the key to what's going on, I think. We don't have any real leads on the people that are actually doing shit, do we? I don't think we do. Like, we have some ideas of how they operate, but we don't have any leads on who. Did I ever say anything about Ito being suspicious? I'm trying to remember, it's been so long. He's obviously not that suspicious. Especially now. Especially now. But yeah, I will end it by saying, fuck you, game. That was just too mean. There are escalations of consequences, and then there's just... Fuck, man. It's not even the dying part that makes it like that. It's the nature of it. Fuck you, game. I'm not even necessarily... I'm not saying that as a negative thing, too, about the game. Just, man, fuck you, game. Oh! I need to end it there. So I'm going to end it there, and this will be an episode that comes out, and I'll record more for the end of the month, and then get back into the swing of how I wanted to do this, where it was just a big video at the end of months. So, yeah. I'll see you all later. Drive safely, everyone.